Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of Javier in the Air. This is season 3, episode 8. So today we have a lot to talk about, a lot to show, so let's just get right to it. I know I don't talk about religion and politics at all on my show. It's saved for other shows that I am not a part of, nor do I normally want them to be here anyway. However, I do have to want to give a shout out to the peoples and people that know people in the Ukraine. Currently, they are being attacked by the idiot in Russia and his troops, and they are. It's been day 4 now that they've been having fighting. People have been dying, and it's been unfortunate that this is happening. So I talked to my nephew who's in supply chain management, and he knows that any disturbance like this is going to cause some issues, not only for the Ukrainian people, but for everybody else. And so we're monitoring the situation here in the United States. I don't know if and when we're going to give any actual physical support. I know there's a lot of emotional support, which really from here doesn't really do anything, but at least we're thinking about them. So let's hope that things will get squared away and Russia will come to their senses and stop being stupid and move back out of the Ukraine. And hopefully there won't be as many people killed. I know there's already been some, but let's hope that there's a minimum on both sides overall, just because we don't really need this with all the other garbage we got going on in 2022. So here's to the Ukrainians and the Ukrainian people, and hopefully everything will work out over the next couple of days. Okay, so time to brighten up a little bit from that thing. I know I started it out, so it was going to be a little bit down, but I thought it's best to get it to the forefront so that everybody who's watching my show, thank you very much, will at least be aware of the situation if they not already are. Okay, so this was a very interesting week. It was a short week for everyone, or for most people anyway, with President's Day, a lot of us having off. I did get some work done, but work done around the interior of the house as opposed to the exterior. And so I managed to get, we talked about the Restore a little bit. Great place, Restore is fantastic, and I was able to get more doorknobs and replace just about all the doorknobs inside the house now. So that's a great thing for me. It really, personally, it just makes the house look a little bit better. Maybe if I were ever thinking about selling the house, which currently I am not, so I don't want to hear from any real estate people. I am not NOT selling the house. However, if I were to eventually sell the house down the line, I know the upgrade of these doorknobs will be beneficial overall. So they're not super fancy. They are just those gold, like gold tone celestium looking knobs. And for those of you who know what gold tone celestium is, you know who you are. So they're gold-ish gold. I mean, they look gold, so that's good enough. And they're better than the knobs that were there. The knobs that were there were probably from the original. I mean, they're the original doors, so they're the original knobs that came with the doors. And they may have been gold-like in the beginning, but they were manky, full of wax buildup, full of, I'm sure, dander, skin, stuff in the air, everything around that knob. So they're pretty, they're pretty nasty. So just getting them upgraded to the ones that I have now, thanks again Restore, then it has really helped out. So there you go. So there, if you're looking for something to do around your house to upgrade them, make everything look just a little bit better, without too much burning a hole in your pocket, I recommend door knobs doors if you really want to go, but that can start getting a little pricey. Pulls, so the little knobs on the cabinet. So all the cabinetry has these little knobs, and they're called pulls. So pulls, you can upgrade those, make things look better and nicer around your kitchen, and your bathrooms and everywhere else. So there you go. And then speaking of things like the bathroom, eventually I will get to the faucets. I did get the kitchen faucet 100%. We had a problem getting the compressor line for the faucet. I'm sorry, the connector line for the faucet for the cold water. It was too short. I got it in Thursday, replaced it, ran water through there for about 5 minutes to make sure everything was good, and it was. So now I have a kitchen faucet again. So I'm really ecstatic about that. And for those of you who have been to my house, you no longer have to hear the every time I turn on the water. That noise is now gone and into the past. So you are welcome, since I know it bothered everyone who ever came and turned on the water in my house. Okay, so I got that done in the house. Now I did something a little different. I may have talked about this in other episodes, but I didn't get a real good output. So I got a good output now. So let's take a look at it and see what you think. Hey everybody, so I'm here today to show you how to make some almost paleo style, but kind of just regular sweet potato pancakes. So what I did was I steamed some sweet potatoes, about 2 cups worth, and then a cup of flour. You can use cassava flour or spelt flour or paleo flour of any type, or you can use regular all-purpose flour. And then you add in half a teaspoon of salt. I used sea salt. And then you make your you make your dough, and be sure and let that set for about 10 minutes. And then you can, see if I can get this a better angle. And then you can make your tortillas. So this is dough for sweet potato tortillas. So I'll show them to you here in a second. I'm adding more flour. So you make your little balls, and I'll go into that after this video. And then you roll out your dough, which will also go out. And then you see here, so sorry I had to get to that point. So 2 cups of sweet potato mashed, 1 cup of flour for every 2 cups, and then you roll out, you mix it all together with the sea excuse me, with the sea salt. And then I let the dough always sit, even though it's all purpose. I let it sit for about 10 minutes before I make it into little balls, which you see here. Note the orange color because of the sweet potato. And then I roll them out using an old-fashioned rolling pin. So if you don't have a rolling pin, I suggest you get one. It really is great for anything you got to do really in the kitchen. So then here is some of the tortillas. Now I'm making these really huge because I want to use them for like making burritos and stuff like that I'm going to make later on. But you can make them smaller. Be sure you have a cutting board. Here's the rolling pin. Be plentiful with the flour on the rolling pin and on the butcher block to make sure you don't have any of the dough stick to your rolling pin, because then that really sucks. So I'm about to turn this one over. You can see it's stiff already. Probably a little bit too long, actually. You see these are better. It's a little bit too long. And just let that sit for a while. And there's this one. I'm going to turn down the heat a little bit. So I usually use medium to high heat. Some people might want to use medium to low heat. Really depends. You just got to be more watchful if you go high. So those are my sweet potato tortillas. Hey, hey, so those were, and I apologize. It's been a while since I used my phone for something like that for the baking, so it's all over the place. The lighting was horrible, and I couldn't rotate the video because it was all one piece, and I didn't want to try to cut it up and try to see what I could do with it. So, um, and in the beginning, for those of you who I'm sure are going to say something, I said sweet potato pancakes, but they're not pancakes. They were tortillas. So if you didn't hear or you need a recap of it, it was 2 cups of sweet potato for every 1 cup of all-purpose flour or paleo flour or spelt or cassava or whatever flour you wanted to try to use. So I made this before, but I didn't steam the sweet potato long enough, and so it came out chunky rather than a nice smooth blend like I got this time. Be sure if you're gonna if you're gonna make these, which I highly recommend. They were fantastic. They were light. They came out just like your regular tortilla, except orange. So and if you get the sweet potato mashed in uh, appropriately, you get the orange tortilla. So you don't need any additional water. The water comes from really when you steam the sweet potatoes. It absorbs a lot of the water, and so you get that. You get a little bit of the sugar from the sweet potato. You don't add any more. You add the salt because that's what you do. You need that salt to help out really with everything as far as flavor and as far as setting the tortilla and all that. So turned out really great. I didn't make the burritos after all. I gave one away to Neighbor James and Zaida for them to try out, and they highly recommended it. So it's something. It's real easy to make. You can make it with your kids. You can make it for yourself. You can make it to add more vegetable, quote unquote, into your diet. Um, like I said, these go really well with butter. If you're old school like that, I wound up having them with some leftovers that I had last night, so I was able to make little tacos, or actually big tacos. I had to cut them in half and quarters even to make the tacos, so they turned out real good. So there was sweet potato tortillas. If you ever um, want to try it out, let me know and see how it worked for you. If you want to try with regular potatoes, I'm sure you can. You can also use potato flour so you don't even have to have potatoes with you. But I started doing this because I had some sweet potatoes. I like to have sweet potatoes in the house, and I actually forgot that I had a couple, and they were laying on the counter underneath some other things I was working on. And when I got to it, um, it was they were on their last legs before they really got bad. So I was like, what can I do with this? And I had some flour from projects I did during baking projects I did during Christmas. So I was like, I wonder if I can make tortillas from it. And sure enough, it turns out you can. So that works out really great. So, we're going to move on to our next thing. But before I get to that, I want to thank everybody for asking about the asthmatic cough that I have going on. It's still going on. I've had it since about January. I expect it to hopefully end in March in some time. Um, it's probably allergies. I have not gone to an allergist. I've gone to everyone else, and they've done nothing, not been able to do anything for me. So I'm pretty sure it's allergies of some sort, and it doesn't happen every year. But when it happens, it usually happens for 3 to 4 months. So let's see what happens. But thank you for your concern. It doesn't bother me when I'm out walking. I don't have a cough. And sometimes it happens when I'm in the house, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it happens when I'm outside, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it happens when there's a lot of allergens in the air, and sometimes it happens when there's not. So that'll give you a rough estimate of what I've been going through, because it doesn't matter what I do. Either I have the cough on that day or I don't. So during the week, actually, it was nice. I was probably coughing maybe once or twice a day. And then yesterday and this morning, I've been coughing up a storm. So anyway, so don't have an official game episode yet. I still would like to get some people. If you know of anybody, or you are interested in coming onto the show and telling me some of the games that you and your family like to play, or some unusual game that you like to play. I'm going old school today, and we are going to look at cribbage. So I was at I call them Farmer James and Zaida, but today they're Gamer James and Zaida, and we went through a very old card game, been around forever. It's fantastic, and so I wanted to get it on to this episode. So here is your look at cribbage. Hey everybody, here is the game day over at the Pavlovskis. We're gonna do cribbage. This is for cribbage for the game section of the Javier In The Air. So here's the cribbage board. I want to show that this is a really nice cribbage board. It's got like felt underneath, and it's really thick. I'm surprised it's that thick. I haven't seen a board that thick before. Oh, that's why, because there's a storage compartment in there. A little, I don't know what that is, but then there's a deck of cards. It comes with 2 decks. There's another one over there, and I'm sure the rules. Yep, there's the rules. And so nice. So for those of you who haven't played, let me put this one back in here. For those of you who haven't played cribbage before, this is a game that can have no more than 3 people. Normally it's 2. This was invented, I think, in the 17th century, from what I looked up earlier, and I'll mention something after the video. And so we got the pegs for up to 3 people. You see, there's the black, and there's the silver, and there's the gold, and there's a deck of cards. So it's a normal 52 deck of cards. We start out in the basically pre-score position, and I won't go through all the rules because it has quite a lot of them, but what happens basically is that every time you score a point, so say I'm gold, every time I score a point, I go from this back part and I put however many points it is, and then when I get more points, I'll take this other one and move it beyond from that point and count upwards that way. So a standard cribbage is when you is up to 120 points?
120.
120 points, and you see the way the board is designed, you wind up going through and back, and it winds up back here with 120 points, and that's called a cribbage. And so you work your way earning points. So if you only have 3 people, or you only have 2 people, it's a great game to have. So like I said, I won't go through all the deal, but we're picking to see who goes first, so I'll show that. So it looks like Zaida is gonna be doing
you.
Oh, Lo, I'm sorry. Lo does the shuffle because you don't get the. Am I the crib then?
Yes.
So Lo one wins the deal. So I'm gonna shuffle, and I'm gonna go through that. But I just wanted to show us not just plain moon, we're also playing cribbage. And there you have it. So it turns out yesterday when we played cribbage, I was lucky enough and just happened to get the right cards that I was able to win that game. And to make it a little bit even more fun, we play a penny a point. So say I finish up at 121 and the next person behind me finishes at 100, they actually owe me 21 cents. So it's not much, but it's about bragging rights, right? So, and normally a cribbage game will be like best of 3 as far as the games go. And then you can also play shorter, quicker rounds where you only do 60 points per game instead of the 120 that we played. So Let me see while I'm talking here if I can get more information on cribbage for those of you who may want to know about it. Let's see. If I can get the origin, that would be really nice. There it is. Okay, so it turns out cribbage goes back to the 17th century. Said to have been invented by the English poet Sir John Suckling. If that's not enough fun for you, then I don't know what is right there. Sir John Suckling. And developed from an older game called Naughty. Older game called Naughty. Not Naughty as in Noddy. So, from there we go to um, talk about the crib, box, or kitty, the different way what you call the scorekeeping board that I showed you in the video. But then there's also different variations as well. I'm seeing here that you can play with. Well, they're showing 5 cards, so I don't know if that's a variation or if that's just because they haven't thrown into the crib yet. But anyway, I thought it was very cool. James mentioned a little bit about how his oldest brother, who was in the Navy, used to play a lot. And in fact, it says here as part of the history, cribbage is played by American submariners, serving as a common pastime. The wardroom of the oldest active submarine in the United States Pacific Fleet carries on board the personal cribbage board of World War II submarine commander and Medal of Honor recipient Rear Admiral Dick O'Kane, and upon the boat's decommissioning, the board is transferred to the next oldest boat. Very interesting, very cool. So if you want to play, by all means, get yourself a board and play. If you want to play against me, by all means, let me know and we can set something up. I think it'd be great to have a cribbage tourney if we can get enough people, kind of like what we do with Moon and kind of like what we do with poker, and see how many people we can get out here to play like a cribbage tournament. And what we can do there is kind of like an entry fee, maybe winner take all, or if we play teams, entry per team, team winner take all. So we'll see if we can get something like that going. So that was the cribbage there. So I thought that would be interesting to get on the show, at least for today. And now we're going to go into our Zen moment. I hope you're ready for it. This Zen moment is brought to you by the 1,000-piece puzzle that I was working on. I think I showed you a couple episodes ago. A 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle that my mother and I were working on over the holidays. Well, it was driving me nuts, and I kept spending an hour or two a day on it. And I think, and I realize now that the table that it's on, and you'll see it, is a little too dark for some of your darker spots that may be in the jigsaw. So it made it more difficult. And there's ways around it, but it just takes longer. So here's our Zen moment. No poem today, just a straight up Zen moment called Puzzle. And this is for those of you that are jigsaw puzzle lovers, and for my mom, because I told her last night that I finished and I wanted her to take a look at it. So here you go. I'm back. So that was our Zen moment for today's episode of Javier in the Air, and I hope you enjoyed it. If there's anything in particular you'd like for me to show on my Zen moment, then just let me know. And also, if there's a particular topic that you want to hear, I think I can convince Jay Anderson to write a poem about that topic, and we can go from there. I think that'd be great for everyone involved. Okay, so now that I finished that puzzle, I have another puzzle thanks to James and Julia, not to be confused with Neighbor James and Zaida. This is James and Julia Takashita, and they gave me something that I'll see if I can get onto the show next year. I mean, next week, at least for the start of it, because I know it's going to take me some time to do it. So, but it's pretty heavy and it's cool, and so I need to break down the puzzle before I start another puzzle. So that's why I wanted to get it on today's show. Okay, so now let's go. Let's talk about Spirit Time. Javier in the Air presents Spirit Time. Spirit Time, yeah. And thank you for that nice opening of Spirit Time. So, still haven't nailed down exactly how I want Spirit Time to open, but I'm enjoying doing various types of it. So, if you find one that you really like, let me know. If not, I'll keep trying different ways of opening up for Spirit Time. As far as the voiceover goes, I've nailed the opening text down. I really like that. Just haven't gotten down a song quite yet, so we'll see how that goes. So, okay, so last week we did a wine. 2 weeks ago we did a beer. So I'm trying to keep that momentum going and that order going. So I reached into my deck of alcohol cards, so to speak, and I found something that I had for a tasting that we did. I managed to do a tasting last year, and it had to do with coffee. So I was able to get various coffees, coffee drinks, and coffee alcohol. So this is a coffee alcohol, and I have to tell you, it goes better with coffee cocktails and coffee drinks and straight up hot coffee and everything. But we're not going to do that today because I want to give it an actual taste by itself. Now, this is Jameson limited edition cold brew whiskey and coffee. Jameson Irish whiskey infused with natural cold brew coffee flavor. Product of Ireland. Made with Arabica beans. And here is if I can get my hand to do it. Here is the bottle. Jameson Cold Brew, established, what does that say, 1780. Very nice, so been around quite a while. This Cold Brew has not been around for quite a while. It's a limited edition. I think they're just trying to get on the bandwagon with Cold Brew and all that's going on lately this past couple of years, which is fine. That's what everybody else does. So, I mean, I am not going to fault them for that. It said it also has with notes of toasted oak and dark chocolate. So, let's give it a shot. So, I'm going to put down the microphone. Hopefully, it'll still pick up everything vocally, auditorily. Got it open, which means it's been a while since I opened it. There's no crust on it, so it hasn't been that long. I'm not pouring a lot, so for those of you out there, don't worry, I'm not overly imbibing on this. It really doesn't even recommend you drinking it straight, so I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna be a huge fan of it straight up, but we'll see. So real quick before I get into the tasting of it, I went to their website, jamesonwhiskey.com, and looked up their cold brew. And it says, here, I'll read this to you. Meet our new brew, introducing Jameson Cold Brew. Cold Brew. Coffee and Irish whiskey are no strangers, But at Jameson, we couldn't help but wonder if there was more to their story. So we found a fresh new angle into a classic partnership with Jameson Cold Brew. Jameson Cold Brew combines the smooth taste of triple distilled Jameson and the richness of natural cold brew coffee flavor into one bottle. This is a perfectly balanced combination of our smooth Irish whiskey with hints of toasted oak, dark chocolate, and a rich coffee aroma. Made with Arabica beans from Brazil and Colombia with no added sugar. Now, here's the part that I really like. Best served chilled, over ice, or in a cocktail and among friends. So they really want you to not get drunk by yourself, which I don't know if you would on this cold brew anyway. You'd have to really love it to really get schnockered on this. But so here we go. Let's give it. Here's the. You can see it's dark. It's more of a caramel brown that I can see. Again, my camera picks up really dark notes and darkens everything, so it's hard to see. It looks almost black here, there, but in my hand, it's actually a brown, reddish brown color. So very, very high aroma on the coffee. Just a little bit of the chocolate on the back end. I can't say for sure that it's dark chocolate, but it's definitely chocolate. So let's give it a taste now. Hmm. I have to say this is a little bit cold because even though it is in my house, it's been, in the 30s here. So, and I keep the house warm, but not super warm. So that means it keeps everything cool as far as liquids go. So this is. I have to say it definitely underwhelms me as far as the actual taste goes. Now this is straight up, and like Jameson is saying, it's best chilled or over ice or in cocktails. So I'm not trying to refute them, but I wanted to give this a straight up taste. The smell is fantastic of the coffee. I think it's really great. I think if I had a cup of coffee here, I would probably add it to that coffee, and it would just enhance it so much more. But drinking it straight, I have to say, leave something to imagination. It's definitely more of a whiskey taste. I don't get any flavors of anything else really. I just get flavors of the whiskey, which I'm a fan of whiskey, so I'm not opposed to it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if you for something that calls itself cold brew, um, I'm not getting any notes or tones or anything as far as the coffee goes. Um, as far as the whiskey in the actual taste itself. The aroma, yes. Maybe something on the very back end, but it's so soft that it's almost non-existent. I'm almost thinking that I'm trying to force of to myself into thinking that I'm actually tasting something when I'm actually not. So not a bad whiskey. I'd like, drinking it by itself would probably be okay, but I agree with Jameson themselves by adding it over ice or adding it into a cocktail, especially if it's a coffee cocktail, or adding it to coffee itself. I think would really enhance the coffee or the cocktail. But by itself, but I get it. Jameson has the right to try different things. Everybody does. And we have the right to review everything. Everybody does. So I am going to give this a 6 thumbs up. Now, for those of you who don't know, the scale is 0 to 10 thumbs up. So this is 6, 4, 5, 6 thumbs up here on Javier in the Air, Spirit Time. And that was Jameson's Cold Brew. So if you haven't had a chance and you like coffee and Arabica beans, and the more of the smell of the coffee than of the taste, but you'd like to add something to your coffee on a cold Saturday or Sunday morning, or you like coffee cocktails, this may be the way to go for you. So Jameson's Cold Brew. Thanks a lot. Okay, and there we have it, everyone. Another great episode of Javier in the Air. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch it. Thank you, Jameson, for having something out there for me to review. And Jameson, by the way, if you did not like my review or you thought that there could be something more out of it, by all means, please send me your information. Send me some more samples, or actually send me samples because you haven't sent me any before. Or if you even want to go down to a lowly podcast like mine, I'd love to have a representative of your company on the show to talk about Cold Brew and any other Jameson whiskeys that you'd like to bring up as well. I think that'd be fantastic. So, once again, for anybody who wants to be on the show, just reach out to me. You know, Semaphore, Western Union, Facebook, smoke signals, however you want to try to get a hold of me, and I'll have you on the show. If you have a mom and pop business, I'd love to have you on the show. It doesn't matter where in the country you are. I am in the Austin Cedar Park area, but it doesn't matter to me. I'll have you on the show no matter where you're from, and we can talk about whatever we want to talk about. So, also looking for special guest hosting appearances of anybody who would like to join me for my production and filming of the episode. I think that'll be great. We can talk about certain things and go from there. So, anybody has any comments or concerns, by all means, please send them to me. You know how to get a hold of me by now. If this is your first time watching my episode, welcome. I hope you stay and we'll watch more. So, I hope everybody has a good week, and I will talk to you again next week. Thanks a lot, everybody.